closer to it.
Okay, should I be able to turn it off when we start probably? Okay, so from here, start to focus on your breathing. Just notice the quality of your breath as it is right now. And then maybe from here, just take a nice deep exhale once again. Exhaling navel to spine. Just drawing in naturally at the core, just kind of moving the abdomen towards the lower back. And then as you inhale, start to broaden through the collarbones, expanding all the way up to about the base of the neck. And then imagine the breath like a wave-like action. So as you exhale, the chest comes in and the navel comes in. And just taking a few more rounds like this. So just deepening the breath, starting to focus on the breath. And just noting that as you move through your practice, you want to stay connected to the breath. Vinyasa means breath-connected movement. So, if you aren't connected to your breath for a moment, don't worry, that's okay. But just as much as you can, just kind of bearing that in mind. Because the breath is sort of like our internal teacher and guide, and it helps the movements and the poses just happen more naturally, more fluidly. It's just you moving with your breath, just in and out of poses. Just the poses are like signposts. Whether or not you ever achieve any pose doesn't really matter. And if you do achieve them, that's great too. But it's more about an inward connection and turning inward. And so even when people are doing like really advanced poses of like floating through the air and standing on their hands and whatever that is, that's all from the breath. Really, essentially, it should come from. So just bearing that in mind. So just about 2 more deep breaths here. And just maybe connect to your core as well. So as much as we want to connect to the breath, connecting to our center, and just helping moving from the poses from the center of the body. And just 1 more deep exhale. And then bringing the hands to the heart into Anjali Mudra, thumb tips touching the sternum, fingertips spread outward, bowing the face inward, looking at your hands with eyes closed, and we'll actually chant the sound of Om. So inhale gently. And again. And once more. Okay, so from here, slowly open your eyes. Come on to all fours into table pose. And just bring your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. And from here, everyone just inhale, extending through the spine, extending through the crown of the head. And then exhale, bring the big toes together, knees over, hips width apart. And then sink back, hips to heels. Coming into child's pose. And for those of you tuning in, I have a little cold right now. Don't worry, it's not contagious, but if my voice sounds funny, that's why. And so from here, just taking a deep breath. Good, just coming back to the breath here. Just take a few deep breaths here in child's pose. So you want to extend from the base of the spine all the way up through the mid-back, through the upper back, extending out through the fingertips, shoulders, keeping the shoulders as relaxed as possible. And just keeping the elbows off the floor as well. So unless you're really tired, you want to keep that extension through the spine, and keeping the elbows off the floor helps prevent rounding in the shoulders. And then just making sure that your torso kind of comes flat out between the space and the quadriceps. And then here in child's pose in Balasana, you also have the benefit of gravity pressing down upon you, so you can almost let the breath go, and the exhale will start to naturally deepen even more. So just about another breath or two here in the center. And then next time you inhale, walking the hands over to the right. So really stretching through the left side. So underneath the shoulder blades, through the collar, through the side of the waist, through the rib cage area, just really stretch and lengthen. So this helps to release any surface tension. We're also keeping the chest and heart open, so still keeping some openness all the way up through the collarbone as well. And just another breath or two here. So especially in the winter, we want to have openness in the chest because it gets cold out and we tend to contract in our shoulders and sort of hunch a little bit. So just kind of being more expansive helps to counterbalance that. And then inhaling, walking the hands back to the center. One breath here in the center in child's pose. And then walking the hands over to the left. So really stretching through the right side. Through the arms, under the shoulders, through the rib cage, the side of the waist. Just really lengthening there. Really extending through the right arm. Pressing the right hand firmly into the mat, and then also maybe notice if there's any asymmetry on the side from the other side, and just bearing that in mind. And just about one more breath here. And the next time you inhale, go ahead and walk the hands back to center. And then just take about 2 more breaths here in child's pose. So from here, start to, as you, Okay, so inhale, rocking forward into table pose. Exhale, lift the hips, curl the toes under, and press back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And from here, go ahead and just pedal your heels a little bit. Just kind of bend one knee and extend the other heel down, and then bend the other knee and extend the other heel down. So just lengthening through the backs of the legs. Kind of walk your dog here. And then go ahead from here and come up on the tiptoes. Press the hips back. And then lower the heels down to the mat. And then really press the hips back to the corner of the room, to the wall behind you. And then from here, go ahead and come up on your toes. Press your hips back. Lengthen through the spine, extending down through the arms and fingertips. Lifting through the core as much as you can to take the weight out of the shoulders. And then lengthen down through the heels. And so really extending through the backs of the calves, the backs of the quadriceps. And just one more breath here. So inhale, exhale, bend the knees, gaze forward, and just go ahead and for this one, walk the feet forward, coming into Uttanasana, and then exhale, fold forward, standing forward bend, and then really press evenly through all 4 corners of your feet, Also really pressing down through the ball mount of the toe, that little kind of joint behind the big toe. Bringing your feet together if that feels stable. You want to have, if you feel really unstable and your gait is just feeling off, go ahead and keep your feet hips width apart. Otherwise, bring the feet together so the inside of the feet are lining up, and then start to internally rotate the legs a little bit. So you want to have like the backs of your legs flare out to the wall behind you. Just a little bit. It's just very subtle. And then start to lift through the waist. Inhale, reaching the arms overhead, tucking the tailbone, lifting through the core, lining your posture, shoulders relaxed, hands overhead, and then exhale, hands to heart. Okay, so let's just start with a half vinyasa. So we're going to keep the shoulders relaxed and come back down the way we came up in reverse. So inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, navel to spine, fold forward, hinging from the waist, flat back if possible. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step back to plank. And then from here, just press back, downward dog. And just go ahead and take about 2 breaths here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, really lifting through the core. And then once again, come up on the toes, come up on your tiptoes. Press the hips back. And then lengthen the heels down towards the mat behind you or to the floor if they touch. Don't worry, no performance required in yoga. Just do what you can and follow your breath. And just about 1 more breath here. Inhale, exhale. And then gazing forward, bending the knees a little bit, walk the feet forward or step the feet forward, back to Uttanasana, exhale, nose towards your knees, Uttanasana, and then grounding through the feet, lifting from the waist, inhale, arms overhead, exhale, release either hands out to the side if you feel like you need some more chest expansion, or exhale, hands to heart. And let's just do that 1 more time. So shoulders relaxed. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Maybe look up at the fingertips. Exhale, hinging from the waist. Really focus on navel to spine. Coming down with a flat back if you can. Coming to Uttanasana. Standing forward bend. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Hands somewhere below your knees. Coming up with a flat back. Keeping the chin tucked a little bit towards your neck. And then exhale, step back to plank. And then just press back, downward dog. And so just gradually moving our way into vinyasa, especially for those of you who are new. Just do what you can. And just really lifting through the core, pressing back through the spine, really extending and lengthening through the spine, extending down through the heels and the backs of the hamstrings. And then as you move, you're lifting your core more, really flattening out in the core area. That too helps to lengthen through the backs of the legs. Just about 1 more breath here. Inhale, exhale, bend the knees, gaze forward, step, walk, or just maybe jump the feet if you want to, forward. Uttanasana, nose towards your knees as you exhale. And then grounding through the feet, lifting from the waist. Inhale, arms overhead. And then either exhale, hands out to the side, or exhale, hands to heart. And then from here, go ahead once again. Inhale, arms overhead. We're going to add on. Hinging from the waist, folding forward, flat back, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step back to plank. If you want to jump back, that's fine too. And then from here, coming into plank pose, a few options. If you want to just drop the hips to upward dog. This is just fine for a back bend. Or maybe bring your knees to the floor and lower knees, hips, shoulders, just lower all the way down. Just kind of gauge your shoulders. And then maybe for this first one, let's all do Sphinx pose. So bring the elbows where your hands were. Extend the arms if you're spread out to the fingertips. And just a little mild back bend, extending through the back of the neck. This is really good if anyone has shoulder issues or you don't have a lot of upper body strength just yet. This is a very good option. And then exhale, hands back where your elbows were. Lift the hips and press back, downward facing dog. So just a few breaths here, really lifting through the core, lengthening through the back, pressing the hips back towards the wall behind you and a little bit towards the back corner ceiling. So there's a little bit of a lift here. So when you come up on your toes, if you want to do that, this is optional. Here, if you want to just stay in downward dog, that's fine. Really kind of exaggerate, feel the V shape of the pose. And so your hip area is sort of like the tip and then lengthening down through the heels. Just about one more breath here. Inhale, exhale. And then inhale, exhale, bend the knees, face forward, step, walk, or jump your feet forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. And then grounding through the feet, lifting from the waist. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, release, maybe hands out to the side, or exhale, hands to heart. And then again, inhale, arms overhead. So right now, this is still Namaskar A, salutation A to the sun. Exhale, hold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step back to plank if you want to jump back to plank. And then maybe drop to upward dog. Maybe lower down to the floor. And then this time, shoulders back, elbows in cobra. Bhujangasana. This is also another mild back bend. You can even stay down really low. Just focus on keeping the shoulders back. And then exhale, press back, downward dog. And so here in this downward dog, let's focus on our hands a little bit more. So you want to have as little to no space, like under your knuckles, under the metatarsals as possible. Palms kind of flatten to the mat, fingertips parallel, and then the tops of the fingers also parallel to the front of the mat. So the hands and the feet are really important in downward dog. They kind of help the whole alignment happen. And so just about 2 more breaths here. In Ardha Vishvanasana in Sanskrit, that's downward facing dog. 1 more breath, really pressing firmly through the hands, but then also, as you lift through the core, that takes the weight out of the hands. And then 1 more breath. Inhale, exhale, maybe let's try jumping, bending the knees, gazing forward, step walker, maybe jump your feet forward. Exhale, Uttanasana, and then grounding through the feet, lifting from the waist. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, release, hands out to the side or hands to heart. And then inhale, arms overhead. Surya Namaskar A. Exhale, dive forward, moving with your breath, moving through Vinyasa. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, come back to plank. And then here, maybe drop to upward dog. Maybe lower down to the floor. Maybe come to Chaturanga. Kind of a little bit of a push-up. And then even if you want to bring your whole torso down, then the other back bend is upward dog. So you either come up having your toes curled under. This is much more modified to the low back. Or the tops of the arches are on the mat. And then this is going to be the deepest back bend. And then from there, go ahead and take your back bend. Back, downward facing dog. Okay. about one more breath here in downward dog. Sorry, technical difficulty. The microphone came out of its thing. So, okay. And then inhale, exhale, bending the knees when you're ready. Gazing forward, step, walk, or jump your feet forward between the hands. Exhale, Uttanasana. And then grounding through the feet, lifting from the waist. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, release, hands to heart, or hands out to the side and hands to heart. And then moving on, Surya Namaskara B. Inhale, exhale, sink down, like you're sitting in a chair. Inhale, arms overhead, Utkatasana. Exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana. And then inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step and jump back to plank. And then choose your lower and down option. Maybe dropping to upward dog. Maybe coming to the floor if you want to do Sphinx. Or Cobra. Or upward facing dog. Maybe roll over onto the tops of your arches. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. And just one breath here, and then we're going to add on. So just collect your breath, and then step the right foot forward. So there's a few options here. If you're feeling a little lower energy, maybe bring your left knee to the floor, maybe just stay up in a high lunge, or bring your left foot to 45 degrees, and then pressing firmly through the feet, especially the outside of the back arch. Sinking as you rise, inhale, arms overhead, shoulders relaxed, squaring the hips towards the front of the room. Warrior One. I just will take an extra breath here for this first one, really extending back through the back leg. The front knee comes towards the